Good evening, everybody. We're going to get started. My name's John Hutton. I'm a member of the men's track and cross country team here, and I'm going to be your MC for the evening, so you're going to be seeing a lot of me. We're thrilled to have all of you here this evening to acknowledge the phenomenal support of the individuals, families, and businesses that financially support our student athletes' pursuit of excellence and recognize the academic accomplishments with a record-breaking year with these athletes, and to honor the athletic excellence of our male and female student athletes of the year. Before I continue, I'd like to ask that anyone with a cell phone to please put it on silent or to turn it off so we can enjoy the rest of the evening. And also, before we get started, upstairs in the endowment room, somebody left this black Shaw jacket. I don't know. So if anyone would like to claim this, I'll have it up here. Black something, yeah. So I'll be holding on to it. It'll be up here for the rest of the evening. The summer of 2014 marked the beginning of yet another professional chapter, as well as a return trip home for President Jim Tressel. The Northeast Ohio native was hired as YSU's 9th president, and after previously serving as executive vice president for student success at the University of Akron. Although his notoriety comes from his significant success on the football field, Mr. Tressel has also published 2 books, had a long-standing commitment to U.S. troops, including visiting them in the Middle East, as well as his and his wife, Ellen, have an extensive history of fundraising and philanthropy for many worthy causes. I have been honored enough to spend the past academic year as a presidential mentor to President Tressel, so please extend a gracious welcome to the stage, President Jim Tressel.
Thanks so much. On behalf of the entire Youngstown State University family, we want to congratulate our student athletes who we're so proud of. It's extraordinary, the size of this room. I'm old enough to have been at the first one of these in 1988, and we didn't have quite this big a crowd. Congratulations go to the parents who were able to make it. Appreciation goes to our faculty and staff who have been the great support systems for our students, and we really appreciate each and every one of you being here, all of our sponsors, our endowment folks, and this is one of the special evenings. I was told to be brief and be seated, but first introduce a couple of very, very important people, beginning with the person that was the brainchild of this scholar-athlete banquet. I'd like to introduce Olga D. Malmazer. Her husband Joe took all the credit, but Olga D. came up with the idea. I'd like to introduce the chairperson of our YSU Board of Trustees, Carol Weimer, and her husband Bill. Holly and David Dybel, Board of Trustees. Dr. John Jakubek from our Board of Trustees. Mr. Jack Fahey, Vice President of Student Affairs. Dr. Martin Abraham, Provost. And I was asked to have all former student athletes of the year please stand and be recognized. Do we have any former? Do we have any? I know I saw one walking around here earlier. Way in the back? Where? Oh, Ron Strollo, former. While I have you here, Ron, you know, Ron was our Student Athlete of the Year in 1964. Excuse me. I'll find it here, 91-92 school year. He was an accounting major, extraordinary student, or wouldn't be here, like all of you students know that. Went on and earned his CPA and has done an extraordinary job as our Director of Athletics for a number of years. But he struggles to count. As we were studying this program, it says on the outside it's the 27th annual Scholar Athlete Banquet. As we studied it closely, the first one was in 1988, and this is 2015. And when you're counting events, you begin with one, right, Mr. Roop? You begin with one because you had the event. So this is the 28th annual Scholar Athlete Banquet. We are rescinding Ron Strollo's Scholar Athlete of the Year award. But it's exciting to be here. It's fun to see that our students are running the program. And again, congratulations to all the students and faculty and everyone that's made this possible. Thanks so much.
Thank you, President Tressel. As you'll note in your program this evening, tonight's banquet is sponsored by a critical financial support arm, the Penguin Club. Membership in the Penguin Club directly impacts over 340 student athletes participating in our 18 Division I sports. Joining the Penguin Club helps provide athletic scholarships, which enables our student athletes to pursue their education while competing in the Horizon League and Missouri Valley Football League. The current president is Ray Brya. Mr. Brya, a YSU alum, is Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer for MS Consultants Incorporated. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Penguin Club President Ray Brya.
Thank you, and good evening. First of all, congratulations to the student athletes. You've done a great job. You've done a marvelous hard work with this thing, and congratulations to you and to your parents. Nice job. Prez, I follow you behind this mic quite a few times, and like I said before, I'll follow you anywhere. The Penguin Club sponsors not only the football, baseball, or basketball functions of the university, but all sporting activities. We support the scholarships. For tonight, we have 4 of them. That's all earned through interest that we have in the YSU Foundation. You used to only have, from the interest, only $2,000 for 2 scholarships. We are now up to 4 at $1,000 each. The Penguin Club also has some capital improvements that we've helped with. The Watts Center, where we donated $250,000, and also the track, soccer, and baseball field right over here, another $250,000. We also purchased the championship rings. And let's talk about some champions. How about the women's cross country, the track and field, the women's tennis, and women's golf? How about a hand for that? Each year, we donate about $40,000 for the student athletes for computers and software. That's an ongoing project that we want to do for you. We also have, every year, we have these year-end banquets, the ring ceremony and tonight's function. What we're excited about, what I want to tell you about tonight real quick, is a new initiative that the Penguin Club would like to try. And that's called, and Jim came up with this name, Student Penguin Club. We would like to have all the students join the Student Penguin Club. We're in the formation of this, and we're very excited about it, and we hope you look for it. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for some officers to help organize and get this thing going. And with that, with those officers, we're going to go ahead and do some scholarship money for you out of the Penguin Club. So please, you students, you've done a great job with the athletics and with the scholarships, with the students studying. Let's get behind this Student Penguin Club and make it work, okay? Thanks again.
Thank you, Ray Brya. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce and acknowledge our exemplary head coaches that we have in attendance this evening. If each head coach would please stand when acknowledged and remain standing until all are announced, and if you would please hold your applause until the end as well. First, Matt Anderson, head swimming and diving coach. John Barnes, head women's basketball coach. Brian Campbell, head softball coach. Steve Gillespie, head baseball coach. Brian Gorby, head men's and women's track and field and cross country coach, and the indoor women's coach of the year. Mark Hardaway, head volleyball coach. Tony Joy, head men's golf coach. Will Lemke, head soccer coach. Nate Miklos, head women's golf coach, and also the women's coach of the year. Bo Pelini, head football coach. Jerry Slocum, head men's basketball coach. And Mikkel Sopel, head men's and women's tennis coach, and also the women's coach of the year. YSU graduate Paul McFadden was appointed president of the YSU Foundation in 2011. The foundation pursues, manages, and distributes resources to support scholarships and student initiatives, as well as the growth and development of Youngstown State University. McFadden returned to Youngstown in 1993 to serve as a director of athletic development until 2000, when he became YSU's Chief Development Officer in 2011. We warmly welcome to the podium one of our own success stories, Mr. Paul McFadden.
Thank you, John. It is great to have the honor to introduce two very special groups, our two most special groups on campus, our student athletes and our benefactors. And this is a wonderful part of tonight's program where we call these two groups together. It's one of the only times all year our student athletes have a chance to engage with their benefactors and meet their donors. I want to tell our students, I meet our benefactors all year long. Your scholarship donors follow you. They feel your ups. They feel the pain of the tough times. Your donors really feel attached to you, and they follow you throughout the year. When we recite the names of these scholarships, please keep in mind that in 100 years, these donors' names will be on this campus, since they are endowed scholarships, and their legacy will carry on for generations of students. When I call the names of our donors and students, I'd like them to stand and remain standing until all names are called. Please hold your applause until all names are called. The Alumni Football Player Scholarship, represented by Mr. Frank Beck. Student recipient, Jalen Kelly. The Andrews Trust Endowment, represented by Mr. Paul Williams. This is an endowment, so it does not have a student recipient. It is a programmatic endowment. The Boak and Sons Scholarship, represented by Sam and Donna Boak. Student recipient, Jackie Podolesky. The Ray Brya Scholarship, Ray, you're just up here, represented by Mr. Ray Brya. Student recipient, Anton Cox. The Charles and Dorothy Butler Scholarship, represented by Marilyn and Tom Butler. Student recipient, Jenna Hirsch. The Robert G. Camardo Sr. Memorial Scholarship, represented by Mrs. Marianne Camardo. Student representative, Jalen Plummer. The Carmen L. Cassis Family Scholarship, represented by Mrs. Patty Cassis. This scholarship will be selected for the first time this coming fall. The Curbstone Coaches Athletic Scholarship, represented by Mr. Joe Maxim. Student recipient, Derek Rivers. The Dr. Irma D'Antonio Scholarship, represented by Sandra D'Antonio. Student recipient, Carla Armstrong. The Jean D'Antonio Scholarship, represented by Robert and Lisa Camardo. Student recipient, Brandon Pluchinski. The Jerome Jerry Dybel Golf Scholarship, represented by Trustee Dave Dybel. Student recipient, Bill Gaffney. The Irvin Magic Dodge Scholarship, represented by Miss Louise Dodge. Student recipient, Allison Mitzel. The Dom's Ice House Scholarship, represented by Mark DeTesco. Student recipient, Nate Adams. The Bob Dove Scholarship, represented by Ryan and Laura Dewberry. Student recipient, Connor McFadden. The Dover Club Scholarship, represented by Marianne O'Toole. Student recipient, Jonathan. The Bill Dunn Scholarship, represented by Debbie Dunn. Student recipient, Anna, it's the first tough one. Anina Brennel. How'd I do? All right. The East High Golden Bear Scholarship, represented by Tony Willott and Ben Dorenzo. Student recipient, Sierra Jarrett. The Farmers National Bank Scholarship, represented by Kevin Helmick. Student recipient, Janae Jackson. The Feld Family Scholarship, represented by Kathy Lynn and Phil Feld. Student recipient, Chelsea Haney. The Donald W. Folkwine Scholarship, represented by Diane Folkwine. Student recipient, Don DeLessio. The George E. Gasser Memorial Scholarship, represented by Mark and Jennifer Gasser. Student recipient, Allison Ryan. The Deborah L. Hinkle Memorial Scholarship, represented by Mr. Dave Hinkle. Student recipient, Jacob Wood. The Tony Joy Senior Scholarship, represented by Mr. Tony Joy Jr. Student recipient, Dominic Carano. The George M. and Helen L. Kohut Memorial Scholarship, represented by Marlene and George Ogle. Student recipient, Jordan Macy. The Kozar Family Scholarship, represented by Bernie Kozar. Student recipient, Ryan Moore. The Olga D. and Joe Malmaser Scholarship, represented by Olga and Joe Malmaser. Student recipient, Megan Stieford. The McAtee Family Scholarship, represented by Ray McAtee. Wait a minute, I messed that one up. Joe and Olga's representative is Jana Janison. Jana? The McAtee Family Scholarship, represented by Ray McAtee, is Megan Seaford. Apologize. Thank you. Now this next one's my mom, so if I mess this one up, I'm in big trouble. The Jack and Mary K. McFadden Scholarship, represented by Mom. Student recipient, Heidi Schlegel. The Ned Mervis Family Scholarship, represented by Ned Mervis. Student recipient, Dylan Colucci. The Dr. Diane B. and Michael J. Millador Scholarship, represented by Dr. Michael Millador. Student recipient, Austin McLean. The Joseph Nudo Family Scholarship, represented by Joe Nudo. Student recipient, Ricky Haygood. The Penguin Club Scholarship, represented by Mr. Ray Breyer. Student recipients, Megan Gunther and Dominika Lakova. The Chuck Perzich Scholarship, represented by Lulu Murphy. Student recipients, Kyle Koranovic and Brandon Ross. The Angelo and Donna E. Pizzulo Scholarship, represented by Mr. and Mrs. Pizzulo. Student recipient, Shane Kuhn. The Judith Ann Ritz Memorial Scholarship, represented by Mr. George Ritz. Student recipient, Ryan Smith. The Melanie and Maggie Sosnowski Memorial Scholarship, represented by Monica Hughes. Student recipient, Stevie Taylor. The Schmutz Family Athletic Endowment, represented by Reed Schmutz. This is a programmatic endowment, does not have a student recipient. The Jim and Ellen Tressel Athletic Scholarship, represented by President Tressel. Student recipient, Eric Roop. The Van Sickle Foundation Athletic Scholarship, represented by Dr. Darrell Mincy, Mr. Dan O'Connell. Student recipient, Aislinn Merling. The William Wallace Watson Scholarship, represented by Tom and Chrissy Watson. Student recipient, Kristen Bryan. the Youngstown Roadrunner Scholarship, represented by Mr. Dan Shields, student recipient Mackenzie Klim. And we have 4 scholarships that were just founded this year. Their recipients will be selected for the first time this fall. We'd like to recognize those donors. The Michael A. LaRocca Scholarship. Mike, thank you. The Mincy Family Scholarship, represented by Dr. Darrell Mincy. And where's Vicky, or I'll get in trouble? The Jack and Peggy Pearson Scholarship, represented by Jack Pearson. And the WYTV Scholarship, represented by Mr. Dave Coy. Please join me in recognizing our donors and our student athletes.
Thank you, Paul. Before we continue with tonight's program, would you please help me and extend a huge thank you to Kayla Maiko and the entire Chartwell's catering staff for the wonderful meal and the service that we all enjoyed this evening. Also, we'd like to extend our thoughts to our long-standing banquet organizer, Debbie Pinchitano from Chartwell's, who is temporarily on leave at this time. Dr. Chet Cooper, an associate professor in YSU's Department of Biological Sciences, fulfills the NCAA role as the athletic department's NCAA faculty representative. As a faculty member in the Molecular Biology and Microbiology Division of the YSU Department of Biological Sciences, Dr. Cooper's primary teaching responsibilities are in the general field of microbiology. In his capacity as faculty athletic representative, Dr. Cooper serves as the liaison between the faculty and the athletic department, as he represents YSU in NCAA, Horizon League, and Missouri Valley Football Conference matters. Please help me welcome Dr. Chet Cooper.
Good evening. Once again, it's a pleasure to be at this banquet. This is my most favorite banquet of the banquet season. And the reason being that at my heart, I'm a faculty member, and it's wonderful to celebrate the accomplishment of our student athletes, and note student athletes. And so you all should take a round of applause for our student athletes that are here tonight. As John mentioned, the faculty athletic representative is a position mandated by the NCAA and serves at the pleasure and is appointed by the president of the institution. I really love my position, and President Tressel, you'll find a fruit basket over at the Wick Pollock when you return tonight. Different universities structure the faculty representative's job in various ways. Here at YSU, I pride myself in putting the student athlete first, making sure that they are treated well here, but also more importantly, that they do what they're supposed to do here in the classroom. And tonight is a fine example of that. But I haven't been the first to take this position. And so I'd like to introduce 2 former faculty athletic reps who are in attendance tonight. The YSU's very first faculty athletic rep is Frank Tarantine. Frank is down front here. Another faculty rep present tonight is someone who has helped me quite a bit after I took this position, and she has always been very helpful with her advice and sage insight, Kathy Lynn Feld, and she's over in this direction. There she is. Part of this position is also reviewing all the eligibility data for each of the students, and we have an academic eligibility committee. And one of those individuals that make up that committee is an academic, actually 2 of them are academic advisors, and one of them is here tonight. And she's a very, very special person because she holds a lot of history of how things are done in this area. She has been one of the most influential people in making sure that you, the student athletes, stay eligible and are doing the right thing in the classroom. And we need to celebrate tonight because this will be her last official Scholar Athlete Banquet because she is retiring at the end of this academic year. It is a great pleasure tonight to introduce Sally Kinney. Sally? And so, Sally, I thank you for all of you've done for us, and please think of us, and please leave your cell phone number with us so we can call you when we can't figure out those percentages we need to figure out. I wish you all the best for the rest of the evening, and I want to say to the student athletes, you make me very proud to be your faculty member. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper. In a follow-up to Dr. Cooper's comments, on behalf of Ron Strollo, Elaine Jacobs, and the entire Department of Intercollegiate Athletics, we can't thank Sally Kenny enough for her volunteering her time the past 8 years to assisting us in the significant task of ensuring academic integrity throughout the process of certifying the eligibility of all of our student athletes on an annual basis. All organizations would be fortunate to have an ethical, intelligent, and organized individual like Sally. And also, from what I'm told, your kolache's not too bad either. Again, our thanks are beyond measure. Tonight is a significant and even more special than usual as we recognize for the final time one of the most highly respected women in intercollegiate athletics today, Elfrida Goff. Now in her 15th year as an executive member of the Horizon League, Elfrida will be retiring from the league as Senior Associate Commissioner. She has attended every YSU Scholar Athlete Banquet since YSU joined the league in 2001. During her illustrious 40-year career in collegiate athletics, Elfrida has made invaluable impact on the institutions, coaches, and most importantly, the student athletes. She has served in every capacity of collegiate sports, from student athlete to coach to administrator, from campus to league and national organizations. She was a pioneer in working towards women's and minorities' professional growth, has worked to help those individuals enter and advance in the field of intercollegiate athletics. Elfrida won't be resting in any rocking chair after retirement, though, as she already has a consulting firm in the works. However, more time will be available for Elfrida to spend with her son, Anton, who is the athletic director at Bowie State University, daughter-in-law, Wendy, and 2 granddaughters, Alexa and Gianna. We are honored to welcome to the podium for the last time, Elfrida Goff.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you and good evening. I always feel like I come home, born and raised in Pittsburgh, 60 miles from here, worked at the University of Pittsburgh, and Coach Pelini, we used to come up here on a regular basis when Jackie and Johnny were the coaches and get the Youngstown guys to help win a championship or two. So welcome home to you also. I always like to come to this banquet because I think it gives us an opportunity to really understand what our students do besides play, throw, jump, and catch, and that is be outstanding students in the classroom and go on to be even bigger, better citizens in our communities. So I like to say that it takes a village to raise a child, and that's exactly what they are when they come to you. They are someone's child, and when they leave, they've had the opportunity and the goodwill to have experienced outstanding leadership, not just in the athletic department, but also with the faculty, staff, and most of all, leadership coming from the very top, the president's office. So I want to thank all of you, parents, coaches, administrators, for the fine job that you do day in and day out without any possible outside recognition to make sure that the young women and the young men that come through your doors receive a top-notch education, but also ready to serve long time with their lives because of their experiences at YSU. So go Penguins. The Horizon League does provide several awards that we're very proud of, and I'm happy to say that I sort of got this started in one of my many roles, because I always say, you know, it's always easy to read about athletic accomplishments because, you know, there's always a camera, there's always a radio, there's always a TV, someone willing to write about the athletic competition and successes and failures. But very seldom do we read about what our kids do in the classroom. And I thought it was important that our student athletes, because there are so many outstanding student athletes, be recognized for what they do in the class. Because 99% of the student athletes that come to the institutions that are comprise the Horizon League probably will not go on to be professional athletes, but they will be our doctors, our teachers, our lawyers, our psychologists, for those of us who need them, coaches, you know, and maybe some of them just want to be homemakers, and that's okay too. But whatever they desire to be, I think we should always recognize those individuals. And one of our awards is called Raise Your Sights, and it's the academic award. And it's given to a male team and a female team on each one of our 9 campuses. And I'd like to recognize, and I'd ask them to stand, please. The Raise Your Sights Spirit Award, academic award for women, is the tennis team. Their cumulative GPA this year is 3.75, which I think is pretty phenomenal when you think about how much time they have to spend on the court or chasing court time because of outdoors. And also, for those of you who do not know, they won the championship last weekend, and they will represent YSU and the Horizon League in Southern California. So anyone who wants to volunteer for that trip, Coach Strollo? So congratulations, young lady. Not only good are you athletically, but academically. Our men's representative this year for YSU is men's tennis with a cumulative GPA of 3.64. Will our men's tennis athletes please stand? The league provides a perpetual award which hangs either in the coach's office or Coach Strollo, Ron Strollo's office, or in the hallway. And there are little individual plaques, so the name and the GPA of the team is engraved, and then when that's full, we send you another one. So, Elaine, I'm not sure where that award is. Can anyone tell us where those awards are? Academic counseling area. Great place for them to be. Thank you. Our final award from the Horizon League is probably one that's very, very close to my heart, because so many of our student athletes do so much for others outside of going to class and outside of athletics. And we named that the Community Outreach Award. And this year's recipient is the softball team. And on behalf of the softball team, I'd like to ask Jordan Macy to come forward to receive the award for the softball team. Jordan? Thank you, Jordan. In closing, I'd like to thank Elaine and Ron for including me in this banquet. I like Chet, it's my favorite banquet. And it's amazing how many people I've met over the years. And I feel that even though I'm retiring, I'm just sort of moving over to another area to do something else. But I'm never going to be too far away. I told Elaine she's liable to see me up here whether she invites me or not. So that's what family does, right? We just show up for a meal. But I do want to thank my Penguin family. I want to thank the student athletes I've had the pleasure of working with, the coaches that I've had the pleasure of working with, and especially the staff who have allowed me to come in and work with their student athletes and their coaches. So I wish my Penguin family the very best. And thank you for acknowledging me in the program. I'm sure that was driven by Elaine, and I want to thank her personally. But thank you guys, and the very best. And I will be following you on Twitter and on ESPN3. So good night, and thank you.
Thank you, Elfrida. It's an honor to have you here this evening. And just so you know, your work doesn't end in June. Your new job is to ensure that you enjoy being retired and a little bit of relaxing, maybe some vacations. But at this time, on behalf of the Intercollegiate Athletics Department, we'd like to thank and acknowledge a special group of individuals who commit to guiding the athletic administration in the development and monitoring of various policies and visions for the department. The Intercollegiate Athletic Council meets semi-annually, and its members are from a variety of campus facility, administrations, and community members who represent a diverse population and provide valuable insights into our decision-making process. Members in attendance tonight are Ken Breyer, community member, Chet Cooper, faculty athletics representative and biology professor, Jack Fahey, vice president of student affairs, and Krishana Jackson Lefwich, professor from political science. We appreciate your support and commitment to upholding the integrity of YSU athletics. This will be the portion of the evening where we recognize all of our scholar athletes here in attendance tonight. And before I start listing the names and listing the GPA categories, I want to say I serve as the president of the SAC, which is the Student Athlete Advisory Committee here at YSU, and I'll touch on that a little bit after this portion. But I work closely with a group of about maybe 30 to 40 students, and I told them something in the beginning of this year, and I've kind of kept repeating it every meeting we have, and I still think it holds true, and this is a perfect example. I always tell them, no matter if it's community outreach, a competition we have, or academics, we will get out of this what we put into it. And this is a perfect example as I acknowledge all of these fantastic student athletes who have gone above and beyond to not only perform on and off the field or the track or the court, but to also perform in the classroom because we truly are student athletes. The following student athletes have cumulative GPAs of 3.0 to 3.24. Please stand when your name is called and remain standing until all the names are announced, and please hold your applause until the end. Ivan Adupoku, undetermined, football. Shauna Meeker, criminal justice, men's basketball. Trey Breedis, exercise science, baseball. Octavius Brown, criminal justice, football. Tanner Gary, physical education, football. Jessica Gehrig, exercise science, volleyball. Ricky Haggood, art studio, football. Dennis Holub, general administration, men's golf. Ashley Carilla, undetermined, women's basketball. Alexander Kithcart, economics, soccer. Taisha Kaiser, exercise science, soccer. Emmanuel Chroma, criminal justice, football. Shannon Leghart, exercise science, soccer. Austin McLean, nursing, men's track. Nicolette Merlot, nursing, soccer. Callie Mikovic, marketing management, softball. Callie Mikovic, Michael Murphy, business, baseball. James Nedrich, undetermined, men's track. Michael Palumbo, exercise science, football. Lydia Scheringer, engineering, swimming and diving. Megan Seifert, geography, swimming and diving. Carrie Smith, criminal justice, softball. Rebecca Stafford, photography, swimming and diving. Brittany Tennis, math, soccer. Derek Thomas, psychology, football. Stephanie Van Nerik, psychology, swimming and diving. And Kayla Zaccoli, exercise science, soccer. The following students have a cumulative 3.25 to 3.49 GPA. And again, please hold your applause until the end. Kara Armstrong, nursing, soccer. Matt Bell, civil engineering, football. India Benjamin, nursing, women's basketball. Samantha Brown, psychology, volleyball. Frank Califano, general studies, baseball. Jacob Chiclo, marketing, men's track. Bailey Dittman, criminal justice, swimming and diving. Emily Dixon, exercise science, women's golf. Beth Glick, psychology, swimming and diving. Leanna Hartso, management, women's track. Dawood Kaubli, communications, men's tennis. Michelle Klim, art studio, women's track. Carly Klein, nursing, soccer. Ashley Lawson, public health, women's basketball. Courtney Lukac, fashion merchandising, women's track. Sophie McFarland, nursing, soccer. Kelsey Newman, mechanical engineering, women's basketball. Victoria Orzos, physical education, swimming and diving. Savannah Osborne, nursing, women's track. Brandon Pluchinski, management, men's golf. Stephanie Reyes, exercise science, soccer. John Richmond, chemical engineering, men's track. Emily Rohana, fashion merchandising, women's golf. Eric Roop, sciences education, men's track. Yosef Sharif, business, men's tennis. Justin Spencer, undetermined, football. Ryan Sullivan, chemistry, men's track. Steven Sveda, general studies, men's golf. Lauren Thompson, early childhood education, volleyball. Nicole Thompson, allied health, volleyball. Morgan Tippy, engineering, volleyball. Letitia Walker, sociology, women's basketball. Shannon Watson, advertisement and public relations, volleyball. Brian Yo, general studies, men's golf. And Carl Zallo, special education, men's track. The following student athletes in attendance have a cumulative GPA of 3.5 to 3.74. Mia Barchetti, mathematics, women's golf. Brandon Bowman, undetermined, football. Marta Burek, biology, women's tennis. Miranda Castiglione, criminal justice, softball. Bill Gaffney, sociology, men's golf. Haley Guerrero, art education, women's golf. Megan Gunther, biology, women's track. Justin Hallapi, chemical engineering, men's golf. Chelsea Haney, criminal justice, soccer. Hannah Lucas, math education, softball. Jordan Macy, middle childhood education, softball. Marissa Martin, biology, soccer. Hannah Martin, exercise science, swimming and diving. Jason McGowan, accounting, men's golf. Allison Mitzel, marketing management, women's golf. Catherine Montgomery, political science, soccer. Eric Myers, mechanical engineering, football. Jessica Parham, exercise science, women's track. Ellie Pollock, management information systems, women's track. Macy Reese, biology, soccer. Jamie Ritchie, nursing, women's track. Hannah Ropp, dental hygiene, women's track. Francisco Santiago, management, men's basketball. Rachel Ship, psychology, swimming and diving. Catherine Smallcombe, psychology, softball. Ryan Strollo, exercise science, men's basketball. Kelly Thompson Cappadocio, biology, softball. Samantha Vaughn, psychology, soccer. Tyler Warford, exercise science, men's basketball. Hunter Wells, undetermined, football. Jacob Wood, mechanical engineering, football. Kelly Wright, undetermined, women's basketball. And Steven Zaborski, mechanical engineering, football. The following students have a cumulative GPA of 3.75 to 3.99. Lauren Blanco, biology, volleyball. Sarah Dowd, psychology, softball. Amber Ells, undetermined, women's track. Victoria Ferry, exercise science, women's tennis. Brad Good, mechanical engineering, football. Catherine Hackos, telecommunications, soccer. John Hutyon, marketing management, men's track. Valerie Jeffrey, nursing, volleyball. Ashley Koziel, undetermined, softball. Shane Kuhn, engineering, football. Dominika Lakova, business, women's tennis. Albert Masso Basora, engineering, men's tennis. Aislinn Meerling, marketing, women's golf. Sylvie Mistrianu, communication, men's tennis. Hannah Reynolds, mechanical engineering, swimming and diving. Sydney Riddle, communications, soccer. Elizabeth Rogensky, physics, astronomy, women's track. Anthony Rowan, mechanical engineering, baseball. Allison Ryan, marketing, volleyball. Michelle Saladino, criminal justice, swimming and diving. Kirsten Sago, exercise science, soccer. Ashley Smith, language arts education, women's track. Sarah Staley, industrial systems engineering, soccer. Evan Standahar, undetermined, men's golf. Brittany Stockmaster, geology, women's track. Anna Stroh, undetermined, women's tennis. And Mackenzie Sturts, graphic interior design, women's track. And finally, we have our student athletes with a perfect 4.0 cumulative GPA. Nicolette Arbanis, undetermined, women's basketball. Anita Brendel, psychology, women's tennis. Alan Burns, engineering, men's track. Dominic Carano, economics, men's golf. Sarah Cash, engineering, women's basketball. Dan Frioni Christensen, exercise science, football. Rachel Hutton, language arts education, soccer. Cobrun John's daughter, engineering, swimming and diving. Courtney Lavin, biology, soccer. Tevin McCaster, exercise science, football. Hugo Morth, general studies, men's tennis. Morgan Olson, undetermined, women's basketball. Jessica Petraz, forensic science, women's track. Jackie Podolsky, accounting, soccer. Alexis Roach, management, softball. Heidi Schlegel, communication, women's basketball. Alexa Schmidt, biology, women's softball. Courtney Shutt, dietetics, women's golf. Brad Smith, finance, baseball. Gabriel Tolasani, business, men's tennis. And Charles Zaborski, engineering, football. Needed a drink after that one. As SAC president, I'd like to briefly share with you a little bit about the Student Athlete Advisory Committee and a little bit about what we do. The students at YSU are fortunate enough to have the opportunity to represent each individual sport, each gender and each sport, and we meet regularly through the academic year with some administrators, faculty, head coaches. And the various activities throughout the year are mainly in community outreach. As you saw, our women's softball team were exceptional this year in that category. But we also do on-campus activities and put on events, not so much like this, but more student-driven events like Penguin Fest in the fall. So it's involved. And like I said earlier, what I always tell my representatives are, we'll get out of it what we put into it. And truly, I can't thank them enough for working as hard as they did this year. So if you could please take a second and join me in a round of applause for the SAC representatives. We're grateful to the leadership of Assistant Director of Athletics, Emily Wallet, for her guidance in helping in us developing our leadership skills, and I've been lucky enough to have her serve as a mentor for me for the past year. Thank you, Emily. At this time, I'd like to present 3 awards that the SAC selects annually. We'd first like to acknowledge the Male and Female Leadership Awards to fellow student athletes who best represent Division I athlete in a leadership role. This year's female winner is a biology major with a 3.66 GPA and is a senior on the tennis team. Please join me in recognizing the 2014-2015 SAC Leadership of the Year, Marta Burek.
Thank you for this award. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the male recipient of this award, who coincidentally is our MC this evening, John Hatnian. John is a junior member of our track and cross-country team, and we are happy to acknowledge his effort with this award.
Thank you, Marta. Finally, the SAC reflects on the most recent year and identifies an individual who exhibited an extraordinary amount of spirit, support, and enthusiasm for all Penguin teams. It's clear that no one cheers harder or supports our Penguin student athletes with more enthusiasm than this year's Sportsmanship Award recipient, YSU's #1 fan, Michael Klaus.
Way to go, Michael.
thanks for all you coaches and stuff for having me and everything. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Michael. The Department of Intercollegiate Athletics would like to take this time to thank the Vindicator for their sponsorship of the Athlete of the Year Awards. In attendance this evening, representing the Vindicator, is Joe Scalzo, sports writer. Please join me in thanking the Vindicator for their support of YSU athletics. Also, in addition, many thanks to Trevor Parks, our Sports Information Director, for preparing our banquet program, and this evening with all the detailed information and distinguished honorees and donors. A time-consuming task, no doubt, but as always well done. Thank you very much, Trevor. Now, for the presentation of our most prestigious awards of the evening, would you please join me in welcoming to the stage to present our Female Athlete of the Year Award from the women's tennis team, Anina Brendel.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The person I would like to introduce today came to Youngstown at the age of only 15. But she didn't come from any local neighborhood from Pennsylvania or even California. Marta Burak grew up in Ukraine. Now, some of you may be wondering, a 15-year-old girl, thousands of miles away from home, all alone, how did she survive? I can tell you, she did not only survive, she truly rewrote YSU's record books. In her first year, she earned an impressive GPA of 4.0, was a first-team All-Horizon League selection and Horizon League's Newcomer of the Year. Today, Marta is a four-time first-team All-Horizon League selection, this year's Horizon League Player of the Year, and she won more than 90 single matches for YSU throughout her career. Marta lost only one match in league play, and she was also very successful outside of our conference, beating many players of ranked universities. Our team has come a long way from not qualifying for the conference tournament just 3 years ago to winning back-to-back conference championships this year and last year. Marta has played a very important role in our team's success. She has always played at the top of the lineup, and in conference play, she has not lost a single match for the last 3 years. We could always count on her winning a point for the team. At this year's senior match, I had mixed feelings because I was very proud of her many accomplishments, but also I realized that this would be one of the last matches that we would play together. I feel very lucky, Marta, that I could have been your teammate for 3 years. We share many great memories, and I will miss you a lot next year on the team. Marta's personality is very special. She's always very positive, and you can always see a smile on Marta's face. She's probably the most relaxed person I've ever met. On a team of 8 emotional girls, things are always interesting. The day may start with one of us crying about a broken nail, or losing ourselves in practice when things don't go our way. However, this was not the case with Marta, who always seems to keep calm, no matter the situation. And I believe this has helped her be as successful as she is. For me, Marta is the perfect student athlete. She's supportive and determined to our team's success. She fights till the end of every match, even if that means that her face turns red like a tomato. She's a very good student and, of course, an outstanding tennis player. Marta, you and me are different in many aspects. You're always relaxed, while I like to stress out. You graduate from college at the age when I graduated from high school. You have blonde hair and I have brown. And you play with Babala while I play with Prince. But we have one thing in common, and we share that with all of you. We are all YSU Penguins, and I'm very proud of it. And now it is time to give the microphone to our female athlete of the year. It is my pleasure to welcome our young baby, our record holder, our power backhand from Ukraine, Marta Burak.
Thank you, Anina, for the gracious introduction. I really hope I was a good teammate and roommate for you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're enjoying your time here. First, I want to thank you, the YSU Athletic Department, Vindicator, coaching staff, the Penguin Club, and everyone else responsible for nominating me as a female student athlete of the year. I would also like to thank YSU Dining for putting together this lovely meal. I would like to start off by congratulating Austin for winning Male Athlete of the Year. Congrats, Austin. Well-deserved award for all your accomplishments and hard work. Special congrats to women's cross country, women's track and field, and women's golf on winning the Horizon League Championship this year. Now, I would like to congratulate all the YSU student athletes on having a terrific year. Many of you may not know this, but now you know. But when I committed to play at YSU 4 years ago, I was only 15 years old, about to enter an environment that a lot of 15-year-old girls usually don't. I was young, scared, and nervous about leaving my family. Coming from Ukraine, English was not my first language, and I think that was one of the toughest transitions I had to overcome. I was not really sure why my previous coach, Mark Leisner, recruited me, but I guess it wasn't such a bad decision after all. Coming in as a freshman, I was a little surprised that we only had 5 people on the team, but I was still happy that I could compete and enjoy playing the sport I love. That year, we only won 1 conference regular season match, and this year we were undefeated in regular season and tournament. It's safe to say we've come a long way. The past 3 years, tennis program has turned around drastically. We were runners-up in a tournament my sophomore year, and we won Horizon League Championship 2 consecutive years after that. I couldn't be happier to be a part of this amazing program. Tennis is an individual sport, but throughout these 4 years at YSU, I've learned what it takes to be a part of a team and compete not just for yourself, but for your teammates. It's what makes college tennis so unique. To my graduate teammates, Carolyn, Rita, Jimena, and Lauren, you all were unbelievable leaders, an example of hard work and commitment. I will never forget Lauren's parents bringing snacks to all of our matches and being there no matter how far away we traveled to play. Jimena always pumping us up before matches in our team huddles. Carolyn taking care of inexperienced freshmen, and Rita's famous grinding every time she hit the ball. I want to say thank you to our coach, Mikael Sopel, for leading men's and women's tennis program at the same time. I know we might have been a little tough on you sometimes, but thank you for dealing with us and trying to make our college experience as much fun as possible. I am beyond grateful for the friends I've made while being here and everyone who was part of my college career. These people saw me growing up, and because of them, I have become the person I am today. I still act childish from time to time, but it's not as bad as it used to be. Thank you, Marty, for all your hard work with helping me scheduling my classes and making sure I took all the right classes I had to graduate on time. I don't know how you and Marilyn managed to do it for all us student athletes. Thank you, athletic department, Jesse, who was supporting us at every home match and conference tournaments, Trevor for keeping everyone updated with YSU team's performances. Thank you to our athletic director, Mr. Strolla, for all the support and traveling one time to the tournament with us. I truly hope that your driving is getting better. Last time it was a little bit of a struggle. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for letting your 15-year-old child go 1,000 miles from home to a completely different country. You must have been more scared than I was, but I'm glad you believed in me to succeed. I wish you could have been there at all my birthdays, see me kicking butts on the tennis court, my senior day match, and all the other important events in the past 4 years. But I hope I made you proud. Thank you to our athletic trainers, Jeff, Berkey, JD, and the rest of you guys for taking care of me when I was injured and always being there at our matches. Also, I'd like to thank Liz for training us in the weight room. Thanks to everyone in the equipment room for organizing all our gear, grips, strings, and for letting me hang out there when I have nothing else to do. Now, I'd like to say a little something about my teammates. Anina, we went through a lot of ups and downs together. We enjoyed a lot of great moments and helped each other to get through the tough times. Having you as my co-captain was a pleasure this year, and I know you will continue to be a great leader next year. Jules, it's been fun playing doubles with you this season, Svetlana. And it was also interesting having a freshman who's 2 years older than me. Domi, you're one of the hardest fighters I have ever seen on the tennis court. The comeback you made in the finals of the tournament was unbelievable. Nihal, thanks to you, I think I know every breed of dog there is. It was a pleasure to have you as a teammate for a couple of years. Sophia, in January we didn't even know if you were going to be eligible to play, but we were happy to find out when you were officially able to compete with us. I'm really happy and impressed with how quickly you were able to adapt to the college life and collegiate competition. Victoria, my only American teammate, you were our official translator, and you would always get what we were trying to say to each other. Because sometimes language barrier was an issue amongst us, coach included. Anna, it was really sad losing you to injury this season, but we're all thankful and happy to have you on the team. I know it wasn't fun coming out at 6 a.m. all the time to watch us practice or to watch us compete, but you don't know how much your support through the entire season meant to us. Thanks, men's tennis team, for all the support throughout the entire season, especially during the tournament. Your cheering really helped us to get through a lot of tough matches. Special thank you to my teammate and friend Daoud for helping me prepare for this speech. It's been a pleasure to be around such a great community here at YSU. It's truly been a memorable experience, and I'm going to miss it. At the same time, I'm excited that I'm moving on to the next chapter of my life, and will carry these memories with me forever. I'm thankful to have had such great teammates the last 4 years. I'm proud to call myself a Penguin and excited to see what's in store for YSU tennis and all our athletics in the future. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Marta. Thank you, Anina. And again, congratulations, Marta. At this time, we will now present our Male Athlete of the Year award. Please welcome to the stage senior track and cross country student athlete, Eric Roop.
Good evening. I've been given the pleasure to introduce not only the Male Athlete of the Year, but also my best friend. Austin came in his freshman year where there was only one guy returning from the team the year before, and that was me. He was unrecruited and had never ran cross country in high school and was thrusted right into a Division I cross country team his freshman year. Me and him had the unique opportunity to kind of create a dynamic and instill an attitude on the team for years to come. Austin's attitude, work ethic, and strive for excellence holds us all to the highest standards and keeps us pushing our physical limits every day. These qualities have not only made him, but all of his teammates around him better. Austin overcame 3 stress fractures and nearly 2 years of not competing to compile a very impressive resume over just the past year. I could go into all of his accomplishments, but for the sake of time, I'll just list a few. Austin, he's a 3-time Horizon League champion. He has school records in the 3K and is part of the distance medley relay team that set the school record. He led the cross-country team to a regional ranking of 14th in the entire region, and that was just 1 spot behind the great Ohio State University. He is an NCAA national prelim qualifier in the steeplechase and is currently ranked 16th, as of today, I checked, amongst all Division I schools in the eastern half of the United States. In 2014, he is the Horizon League Outdoor Most Outstanding Performer, and in 2015, the Horizon League Indoor Scoring Champion, along with capturing the 2015 Horizon League Indoor Track and Field Athlete of the Year. One of my favorite memories with Austin was probably last year at the Outdoor Championships where me and him went 1-2 in the 5K. and clinch the conference title for our team. It was just a great experience. Above all these things, Austin is a great teammate, a great training partner, and an even better friend. And now adding to his list of accomplishments, the 2015 Youngstown State University Male Athlete of the Year, Austin McLean.
Good evening, everybody. I know some of you have already suffered through one of my speeches, so I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. First off, I'd like to thank a few people, and by a few, I mean a long list of very important people to YSU. First off, I'd like to thank the Vindicator for them putting this on and awarding Marta and I with this award. I'd like to thank Elaine Jacobs, Ron Strollo, Coach Vlad, the lifting coach, Guy Pizzo, who's a very big supporter of our program. He's always around timing us, helping us with practice, traveling, whatever we need done. I'd like to thank the coaching staff of YSU Track and Field. I'd like to thank President Trussell for everything that he's done for this university, the trainer Jen, and I'd like to thank Dr., Mr., and Mrs. Millador for the scholarship they have awarded me, and Mrs. Obruba for everything that she does for athletics and trying to keep us on track, because I know we're all pretty immature when it comes to the scheduling portion of things sometimes. And last but not least, two special people I would like to thank, and that would be Coach Gorby. What would a speech without a Coach Gorby story be? So I remember when Coach Gorby first came to me. I know some of you have heard part of this, but I was just really nervous through all the injuries of high school. I talked to Gorby a few times just through letter and email, and he decided he was going to show up and meet me at a pizza shop somewhere in my small little town. So I dressed up like this. I got really nice and spiffed up. Thought I was going to impress him, you know, big Division I college coach coming in, and here comes Coach Gorby walking in with fingers and toes full of rings, trying to impress me, and couldn't really see through all the shine, but we sat down there in that empty pizza shop, and he threw my dreams on a platter and basically told me to get to Youngstown State, so I hopped on it and I jumped here. Not 20 minutes later did that man walk out with a full pizza, gone, and a full pizza to take home. So next I'd like to thank Coach Strollo. She's basically like the mother of the team. She takes care of all of us. When the guys get a little bit rowdy, she has to crack the whip on us and put us back into shape. She not only does that, but she sat through the ER emergency room visit with me in North Carolina for about 6 or 7 hours as I was on my deathbed, and she sat there the whole time with me. So that was a big help, and everything else she does for the program with driving the female team around and all of that. Second, I would like to say congrats to Marta on everything that she's accomplished at Youngstown State University. She's a big part of this university, and it's going to be very hard to replace her. And congrats to everything that she's done. I'd also like to congratulate the golf and tennis, women's golf and tennis teams, as well as the women's cross-country team for their championships this year. And last but not least, I'd like to thank my family for being here. It's not very often I get to see them, so to have the whole family here, it's a big honor. And throughout everything, they've supported me the most, but they have no idea what they're talking about with track and field. As a big part of my life, that's all I did. I stalked times, I sat on Mile Split and looked at everyone's stuff and just ran all day and worked out all day, and they sat there and watched me the whole time, and they supported me. And every time I call them to tell them how I did, the only two words they understand were win or lose. So I'd be telling them my stats and everything that I did, and then the next thing they'd be like, oh, well, did you win or lose? So that's about what they know to track and field. And then I've already stated the fact that I had so many injuries and dark moments here at Youngstown State with all of that. So it was rough, and I just remember being the kid that used to stand on the podium, the awards podium on the top, pretending I'm a winner. and it was pretty depressing. But through everything, my team being here for me, it's just nice to see, and it's a beautiful thing to be honored, and I feel so blessed to be awarded this award by everybody here at Youngstown State University. I know there's a lot of great athletes out there tonight, in attendance, not in attendance, and everybody's really earned it. So, like I said, I feel really blessed and honored to go from not being able to run and standing on top of an empty podium by myself looking like a loser taking pictures to receiving this award and actually being able to call myself a Horizon League champ, and to say that I'm teammates with some of the people in here and I'm part of the same family as all these athletes in here. And I just like to say that I'm a proud member of this Penguin family, and I have a lot of Penguin pride. Thank you.
Thank you, Austin and Eric, and congratulations again, Austin. I want to once again thank all of you in attendance this evening for coming out and celebrating with us and spending a little time to get to know athletes, especially for our donors. It's great to have you interact with the athletes and get to learn a little bit about them, and just to see the exchange is exciting. It's not very often I get the chance to address a room full of about 500 people. So before we leave tonight, I want to leave you guys with one last piece. It's a quote from Kevin Spacey, the actor who plays Frank Underwood in House of Cards. If anyone has Netflix, check that out. But the quote is, if you're so lucky enough to have success, be sure to send it back down the ladder. And I think that, across the board here, we have freshmen to seniors to fifth years, all the way up to coaches and eventually donors. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to be appreciative of what we have and what we've earned, but to be sure to leave a legacy for somebody else and send that back down the ladder. So if you are a fifth year, if you are a senior, or if you're fortunate enough to be a donor here for us, and we appreciate that, please send it back down and have someone do the same that you did. Before exiting, we would like to have all the women's golf, women's tennis, and women's track and field / cross country who are in attendance to please make their way to the stage for a couple of photo opportunities with President Trussell. Other than that, that's all I have for the evening. Thank you for bearing with me. Safe travels. Go Penguins.